Okay, it's the fourth video to do the absolute value test review. I'm looking at 16 here, and we have a couple of different notations we have to make sure we're familiar with for the test. First thing we want to do is go ahead and solve this absolute value inequality. My absolute value is by itself, so I'm going to go ahead and split that up for us. So we split it up over here, we get C is greater than 8. And then I split it up over here and get C is less than negative 8. Remember, just simply change both that signs. Those are my shortcut there. On here, I'm going to put negative 8 and negative 8 on my number line. Sorry, not negative, this is a positive 8. And I'm going to say I leave these open circles because it doesn't have a little line underneath. And this says from negative 8, I want less than, or I'm going to shade left. The arrow says that way, and this one says I shade to the right. Set notation, we're going to say, basically we're going to give this right here, C is greater than 8 or C is less than negative 8. I probably would have switched those around, had a negative first, but oh well. Interval notation. Interval notation is written like this. We're going to go negative infinity to negative 8, non-inclusive. There's curved bracket is non-inclusive, which means there's no equal sign on the bottom. Infinity is always non-inclusive, curved bracket. And then we're going to union, kind of like saying and then this one over here is 8, and this is going to go all the way out to positive infinity. Let's do another one, so make sure we're familiar with this notation here. We have this one right here, absolute values by itself, split it up. I'm not going to go through solving this right now. I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, this ends up being P is less than 2 and P is greater than negative 1. So let's put that on here, negative 1, 2. They're going to be open circles since there's no equal sign line underneath. And from negative 1, we're going to be greater than. P is greater than negative 1, so it's going to go that way. And then 2, it's going to be less than, so it's that way. So it's numbers in between negative 1 and 2. And we write that negative 1 less than P, so P's in the middle here, less than 2. Symbols always point to the left here, smallest number to biggest number. Interval notation, we're going again from negative 1 to 2. So non-inclusive, since we don't have the equal sign, don't have solid dots, negative 1 to 2. That one's a little bit easier. 18. Not going to go through and solve all this, but I think we end up with, did I do this right? Let me just double check. Plus 2 plus 2. W plus 5 is greater than or equal to 2. W plus 5 is greater than or equal to 2. And the other one when we split it up is W plus 5 is less than or equal to negative 2. Let me go ahead and solve this. Subtracting 5, W is greater than or equal to, what is that, negative 3. W is less than or equal to minus 5, negative 7. So we have my W's at negative 7 and negative 3. They're inclusive. They have, or they're solid lines, we have the equal sign on the bottom. And then we're saying from the negative 3, we're going to be greater than, arrow's going to go to the right. From negative 7, there's going to be less than, arrow's going to go to the left. Set notation is basically this down here. W is less than or equal to negative 7, or W is greater than or equal to negative 3. interval notation for that. It's going to be like this first one you did over here. This all the way over here, we're going to hit negative infinity. Then we're going to take that to -7, and it's going to stop here. It's a solid line, so we're actually going to put that little symbol there. And then the little union symbol, solid line here, or square bracket, and that's going to be -3 to positive infinity. Alright, go ahead and leave the rest of them for y'all to practice.